Welcome back, everyone, to another Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most famous, mind-boggling geographical mysteries on Earth. Just picture this. You're boarding a totally routine flight from Miami to London. You're cruising along, the weather is absolutely flawless, and the engines are humming perfectly. Everything is totally normal. Until
your screens just die. The GPS goes completely black. You have zero navigation.
You look over at the analog instruments, and the compass is just spinning wildly, totally out of control. Suddenly, a deafening blast of static fills the radio, and then, literally seconds later, the entire plane vanishes from radar. No crash, no distress call, absolutely no wreckage.
Okay, let's dive into this. Chapter 1, The Mystery Escalates.
Now, geographically speaking, the Bermuda Triangle is a very real region right between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. But for this explainer, we're doing a massive thought experiment. We're treating the myth as fact. The crisis kicks off on a totally random morning. Step 1, a massive cargo ship just disappears. Step 2, the very next day, 2 passenger planes vanish mid-flight. And step 3, an entire cruise ship suddenly stops responding. Day after day, this keeps happening. No emergency messages, zero debris.
It leaves the whole world completely stunned. I mean, I want you to suspend your disbelief for a second here. What if this wasn't just a myth? What if all those wild, supernatural stories were actually a hard, terrifying reality?
Which brings us to Chapter 2, The World Reacts.
Obviously, planes and ships vanishing into thin air triggers unprecedented global panic. World governments immediately slam the big red button. Total lockdown. The entire region is officially closed off. Heavily armed military aircraft are deployed to investigate, and they reposition highly advanced satellites to monitor the zone 24/7.
But, this is where the logic of our little scenario completely shatters our understanding of physics. Every single drone that enters the triangle instantly loses contact. Human rescue missions go in, and they just don't return. Even the satellites start capturing these strange, massive flashes of light. And then, scientists detect powerful, totally unexplained energy pulses shooting up directly from beneath the sea.
Social media, as you can imagine, absolutely explodes. Is it aliens? Is it some rogue, highly classified military experiment gone totally wrong? Or is it something humanity has literally never seen before? The world wants answers.
And that leads us to Chapter 3, An Impossible Discovery.
To figure this out, global superpowers build a specialized submarine, right? It's designed specifically to withstand unknown pressures. But as it descends to the ocean floor, something crazy happens, a bizarre time dilation. The sub's internal clocks physically slow down. The camera feeds completely freeze up. Hours pass up on the surface, and the world just assumes the crew is dead. But then, all of a sudden, the sub reappears. And to the utter shock of Surface Command, the crew insists that for them, only 5 minutes have passed.
And what they report seeing during those 5 minutes, it's completely beyond human comprehension. They insist they didn't just see the ocean floor, they saw an entirely different world. We're talking strange skies that shouldn't exist underwater, totally unknown constellations of stars, and giant floating islands that just defy all laws of gravity.
But the absolute most shocking piece of data? The thing generating those massive energy pulses? Resting right there on the ocean floor is a gigantic, glowing structure, perfectly triangular, and it is hundreds of times larger than any pyramid ever built by human hands.
All right, Chapter 4, The Portal Expands.
Scientists finally realize the terrifying truth here. The Bermuda Triangle isn't some hazard destroying ships. It's a literal portal to another dimension, and it's not staying put. First, the portal physically expands its perimeter. Then, compasses start failing in heavily populated coastal cities. Next, electricity grids start to flicker on a global scale. And finally, the night sky itself begins to glow with this strange, unnatural light.
The terrifying reality sets in for everyone. Is Earth about to permanently connect with another universe? I mean, what actually happens when two realities collide?
Okay, let's take a collective breath here. Chapter 5, Fact versus Fiction.
As incredibly fun and thrilling as that sci-fi scenario is, it is my job as your explainer to separate this wild narrative from actual facts. The real Bermuda Triangle is really just a heavily traveled region of the Atlantic Ocean. There is absolutely zero scientific evidence that it acts as a portal or that it has any supernatural powers whatsoever. It is not a gateway to floating islands, and it is definitely not hiding massive, glowing pyramids on the seafloor.
So the crucial point is, what really happened to the ships and planes that did historically go missing there? Well, most reported disappearances have totally ordinary explanations. We're talking about severe, unpredictable weather systems, human navigation errors back in the days before advanced GPS, catastrophic mechanical failures, and honestly, a lot of stories that have just been wildly exaggerated over decades and decades of retelling.
But hey, that doesn't mean we can't enjoy the wonder of the what if, right? I mean, imagine waking up tomorrow and finding a second moon in the sky. Not because it wandered into our solar system, but because another universe was slowly, beautifully, and terrifyingly merging with ours.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? If the Bermuda Triangle actually were a gateway to another world, what would humanity do? Would we boldly go in and explore it, or would we try to seal the portal forever because we're terrified of the unknown? I really want to hear from you on this. If you were standing right at the edge of that glowing triangle, would you be brave enough to cross it? Comment "Enter" down below if you'd explore the unknown, or comment "Stay" if you'd absolutely never go near it. Thank you so much for joining me for this thought experiment today. If you love diving into giant mysteries, make sure to follow along because our next explainer adventure is going to be even crazier.